I had been alive for less than 2 hours, and I already knew exactly when they were coming to steal me. The clock on the maternity room wall glowed above my bassinet. In my last life, I disappeared before dawn. I grew up in poverty, found my real family too late, and died because I learned the truth. This time, I came back with all of it still inside me. I couldn't sit up. I couldn't speak. I could barely control my own head. But I still had 3 weapons. I could cry. I could cling. I could refuse to sleep.
Get some sleep. I'll watch her.
No. That was how they lost me the first time. Claire shifted me in her exhausted arms and started lowering me towards the bassety. I screamed. Not a weak newborn fuck. I threw everything I had into it until the sound ripped across the room. My mother jolted and gathered me back against her chest at once.
Oh, baby, what's wrong?
The second she held me close again, I went still. I hooked my tiny fist into the collar of her gown and held on.
Look at her. She's holding so tight.
Nathan reached out. I screamed again, louder. His hand froze in midair. Then he let out a tired laugh and pulled back.
Okay. Message received.
My mother settled deeper into the pillows and kept me pressed to her heartbeat.
She only wants me.
Yes, exactly. Minutes dragged. Then another hour. I stayed awake through sheer force while the clock crawled closer to 2:55 a.m. Every time Claire's arms loosened, I made a restless sound. Every time she tightened her hold, I quiet. Then I heard it. Soft footsteps in the hall, rubber seals on tile, stopping outside our door. The handle turned. Mother tried to put me down again, and I answered by crying hard enough to make her snatch me back before my body even touched the mattress.
Okay, you're fine. I'm sorry.
The moment I was against her throat again, I went silent. That was the lesson I needed them to learn tonight. If Claire held me, I settled. If anyone tried to take me away, I broke the room apart. Nathan rose from his chair and held out his arms.
Come on. Let me take her for a bit.
She just loosened around me.
Her screamed again, sharp and panicked, the kind of sound that made adults stop thinking and start reacting. Claire jerked me back against her chest before Nathan had fully taken my weight.
Sweetheart, what is it?
I quieted in stages this time, a few shaky breaths, a wobble in my mouth.
She's really holding on.
Nathan closer and one finger toward my hand. I let my eyes fill and shape the beginning of another cry.
All right, message received.
Good. The hours dragged, and I controlled the rhythm carefully. Too much crying, and they would call a nurse. Too little, and they would think the bassinet was safe. At 2:30, my father's head tipped back against the sofa. At 2:50, my mother's hand loosened. I whimpered. At 2:54, the hallway went still. Even the fluorescent hum overhead sounded louder. Then came the footsteps. Slow, light, measured. The handle turned, and I tightened my fist in my mother's gown, waiting for the woman who had stolen 20 years from me. The door opened without haste, and Gloria Kane stepped into the room pushing a new Sannel transport cart like she belonged there. White coat, calm smile, that was all it to cut my life and voice. Mrs. Sterling, I'm sorry to disturb you. It's time for your daughter's newborn screening. It'll only take a few minutes.
Now?
It's routine. Perfect lie built out of the shape of truth. My mother's arms loosened a fraction while she tried to think through exhaustion. That was my cue. I exploded. I screamed till my throat scraped raw. I kicked, twisted, and clawed deeper into Claire's gown as if I could stitch myself to her body. She jolted and crushed me back to her chest.
Oh my God, what happened?
What's wrong?
She probably got startled. I cried harder. Nathan stood and crossed the room, fully awake now.
Why is this being done right now?
It's standard within the first several hours.
Can it wait until morning?
Hospital procedure.
I thought the assigned night nurse on this floor was someone else.
The room went still. Gloria recovered quickly, but not cleanly. I'm covering for a colleague. Nathan didn't answer right a while. That silence was worse than accusation. Then he moved to the bed and braced one hand on Claire's shoulder, the other protectively over me.
Tomorrow morning, have the supervising nurse arrange it. Tonight isn't happening.
Gloria looked down at me, and through the blur of my tears, I caught it at last. The polished mask slipping, the cold resentment underneath. Then she turned and wheeled the empty cart back toward the door. I let my crying fade against my mother's chest. For the first time, the story that had destroyed my first life failed to begin. My father rested his hand on my blanket that morning. I let my face crumple just enough to warn him. Not a full cry, just enough to make him stop.
Still not my biggest fan.
My mother gave a tired laugh. Her arms tightened around me anyway. Daylight had arrived, yet the room did not feel safe. It felt like we had survived the night by one decision. A doctor came in with 2 nurses and a clipboard full of routine checks. This time, everything was visible. Names were given, steps were explained. My father watched every movement. The heel stick test Gloria had used as cover happened properly in daylight, under the attending physician's eye. I still cried. But this was not theft-wearing protocol. This was protocol. That difference mattered. It made my father quieter, not calmer. After the medical team left, he stood by the window for a long moment.
I'm going to grab coffee.
He stepped into the hallway, but the door was thin and hospitals are never as private as people pretend. I heard his voice turn clept and hard.
I need someone to look into a nurse. Gloria Kane. Check her employment records, credentials, and corridor footage from 2:30 to 3:15.
There it was. The first real move, not enough to know what had come back. Then a soft knock landed on the doorframe. A woman in a floral hospital robe stood there with a warm smile and tired eyes.
Hi, sorry, I hope I'm not bothering you. I'm in room 206 next door. I had my daughter yesterday too.
No, not at all. Come in. The woman stepped inside and smiled wider.
Thank you. I'm Marlene Bennett.
The name hit me like ice water. She wasn't visiting. She was checking whether Gloria had failed. Marlene Bennett looked like the kind of woman strangers trusted without thinking. That was exactly what made her dangerous. She stepped farther into the room in her hospital robe, smiling softly like she only wanted company. It's just nice seeing another first-time mom nearby. The ward feels less lonely when you know someone else is awake too. My mother smiled despite herself. Of course she did. She was exhausted, raw, and desperate for anything felt normal.
I know exactly what you mean.
My father glanced up from the chair in the corner, polite but watchful now.
Marlene Bennett?
From next door. I promise I'm not trying to steal your coffee. Good instincts, I thought. Friendly, harmless, easy to let in. Then her eyes landed on me and stayed there a fraction too long.
Your daughter is beautiful. Can I see her?
I waited until she came close enough for the answer to register in my mother's body, not just her ears. Then I cried.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset her. She's been like this with everyone except me.
That was useful enough. Marlene didn't ask to hold me again. She sat and started chatting instead. Feeding schedules, recovery pain, hospital sleep, newborn advice. My mother responded more than she should have, and every few minutes Marlene edged a little closer. Each time, I reacted. A fussy sound, a twist against my mother's chest. By the third time, a stance shortened. Her body turned protectively away. Then Marlene changed tactics.
What did you name her?
Evelyn.
Beautiful. And your daughter? Leela. Leela Bennett.
My father finally spoke again, quiet enough that only attention made it sharp.
You said your cousin came by earlier. Does she work here?
Not in this department. Why?
Just making conversation.
No, he wasn't. And when Marlene left 10 minutes later, my father set his phone down and looked at my mother.
I don't think she came in here just to be friendly.
My father closed the hospital room door before he spoke, and that was how I knew the danger had moved beyond suspicion.
The nurse from last night, Gloria Kane, shouldn't have been in our room.
My mother lost color so fast it frightened me.
What do you mean?
He stayed standing instead of sitting. That made it worse.
She wasn't assigned to this floor, and it wasn't a last-minute shift swap.
The truth came in pieces, each one sharper than the last. Parts of Gloria's credentials couldn't be verified. Her listed experience didn't hold up. She should never have been near me.
And the cameras?
The corridor cameras failed during exactly the time window she entered our room.
My mother stared at him as if the floor itself had shifted under the bed.
Random equipment failure happens. So does planned downtime, but not like that.
Claire looked down at me, replaying the night all over again through a new lens. She started screaming before Gloria even touched her. Yes, because I knew.
I filed a report. Hospital administration is involved. Security is being increased. I also contacted...
My mother clutched me tighter.
What if she comes back?
From now on, takes Evelyn anywhere without you calling me first. No nurse, no tech, no one.
He straightened and started pacing once across the room.
And when we leave this hospital, security changes at home.
The words rang through me like a warning bell, because the hospital had only been the first attempt. The next battlefield was waiting behind the doors of the Sterling estate. It was already here. Morning we left the hospital, my father arrived with 2 black SUVs and enough security to make the discharge nurse lower her voice. No one joked about overprotective first-time parents. Not with him looking like that. My mother carried me herself the entire way out. She didn't set me in the baskety. She didn't hand me to a nurse. She didn't even use the car carrier. Good. In my first life, I left this hospital in the wrong woman's arms. This time, I left pressed against my mother's chest while my father scanned every face in the corridor. The Sterling estate appeared behind iron gates and winter bare trees, and I knew it instantly. The long drive. The stone facade. The house I had reached too late in my first life now opened for me before I could even walk. Richard Sterling stood at the top of the steps with his cane, delight roughening his voice.
Let me look at her.
My mother turned just enough for him to see me. I didn't cry. I only watched. That was all the permission he needed. Then the air changed. Eleanor Sterling stepped forward in silk and control, her smile arranged before she spoke.
And this must be our little Evren.
Hour. Her hand lifted toward my cheek. I cried immediately. My mother reacted before Eleanor's fingers could land.
Sorry, she's still adjusting.
Eleanor lowered her hand, but not before I caught the pause.
Poor darling. New environment.
If only that were all. Later, as twilight settled over the estate, my mother finally tried to place me in the crib for the first time. I cried until she picked me up again. My father watched from the nursery's doorway and murmured under his breath.
She's doing it on purpose.
Yes, because I had come home at last. But home was not the same thing as safe. Impossible in the most useful way. If my mother held me, I was peaceful. If anyone else tried, I cried. By the end of the second day at the estate, the pattern had become household fact. The maids whispered about it. The retained nurse complained about it. The housekeeper called it strong attachment. Good. Let them all believe that was the whole story. My mother stopped apologizing by the third day. At first, she had tried to hand me off politely so she could shower or sleep. I defeated each plan with relentless consistency. Nathan noticed before anyone else.
She's made your life harder.
Claire looked down at me in her arms after I had just screamed at the nanny.
She's made my life very specific.
That was enough. While the adults adjusted to me, the estate adjusted too. New cameras appeared. Entry alerts were installed on the nursery. Staff records were rechecked. My father moved through the house like a man fortifying a perimeter. Richard adapted best of all. He never pushed to hold me. He only sat nearby in the late afternoons reading while my mother rested.
Still refusing the world?
He understood more than he said. A few days later, my father came upstairs from his study with his face gone unreadable.
Bad news?
Nathan crossed the room and lowered his voice.
The number we found on Gloria's call records has been active again.
My mother froze.
Where?
He looked toward the hallway, then the walls, then the nursery itself.
Too close.
I went still in my mother's arms. The danger was no longer outside trying to get in. It was already here. Outside my nursery were too light to belong to my father and too deliberate to belong for chance. I lay awake in the crib, listening. The handle didn't turn right away. Whoever stood outside paused first, listening or measuring. Then the door opened, and a woman slipped inside without fumbling in the dark. She knew the room. That was the worst part. She came closer, and I caught the scent before I saw her face clearly. Powdery floral perfume layered over amber. Expensive, old-fashioned, familiar. Mrs. Harper, Eleanor's most trusted housekeeper, moved straight to my crib without reaching for the lamp or checking the room. No hesitation, no concern. Her hand reached down towards my blanket. I waited until the instant her fingers touched the edge. Then I screamed. Not blindly. Precisely. The nursery alarm detonated at once, shrier enough to rip through the room, the hallway, and straight into my father's phone if his new system worked the way he intended. Mrs. Harper recoiled, her face washing pale in the red pulse of the alert light. The door flew open. My father reached the nursery first. My mother rushed in a heartbeat behind him, robe half-belted, face white with terror. Mrs. Harper stood frozen beside the crib, one hand still half-raised. My father looked from her to me to the flashing alert on his phone. Then he said, in a voice cold enough to change the temperature of the room,
What exactly are you doing in my daughter's nursery?
Mrs. Harper stepped back from my crib and tried to gather herself fast enough to outrun the evidence.
The baby was crying. I came to see if she needed anything.
No. Wrong line. My mother had already scooped me into her arms, shaking so hard I could feel the tremors through the blanket. My father didn't even look at Mrs. Harper first. He looked at the security replay on his phone. The footage played back cleanly. Door opens. Mrs. Harper enters. She goes straight to the crib in the dark. She reaches in. Nathan turned the screen toward her.
You walked straight to the crib. You didn't call for the nurse. You didn't wake her mother.
Claire's fear sharpened into something harder.
You were going to take her?
Mrs. Harper's face collapsed around the lie. Richard arrived in the doorway with his cane and took in the scene in a single sweep. Security crowded the hall.
If he hadn't installed that alarm, what exactly would you have done with my daughter?
No one in the room had an innocent answer to that. Then Eleanor appeared at the nursery threshold in silk and irritation.
What is going on?
My father rose slowly to his full height, the replay still in his hand.
Ask your housekeeper.
For one fraction of a second, something slipped in Eleanor's face. Not surprise, recognition, and I saw my grandfather see it too. The officer asked Mrs. Harper for a statement. She didn't hold together. She dropped to her knees on the nursery rug and started crying hard enough to shake.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My father didn't let the apology become shelter.
Who sent you?
She kept sobbing until the officer crouched closer.
If someone instructed you to remove the child, now is the time to say so.
That broke her.
They offered money.
Claire went roged around me.
How much?
500. 500,000.
The room changed. Not in volume, in gravity. $500,000 was not panic money. It was planning money. It was someone deciding my removal was worth $500,000. Richard's face darkened.
For what?
To take the baby out tonight. Just for a little while. Just to hand her over.
To whom?
She shook harder.
I never saw him.
Maybe true, maybe not. The officer took her phone. My father leaned in over the call log. Then he went still.
It's the same number.
The same as what?
He looked at her, and the answer landed like a blade.
The same number as Gloria Kane.
The chain was complete now. Hospital, house, same contact, same scheme. And my grandfather turned to Eleanor at last.
Do you have something you'd like to tell me?
Moved my crib into the master bedroom before dawn. Not tomorrow. Not after breakfast. Immediately. My mother sat on the bed still holding me while my father supervised the transfer as if 6 feet of distance could decide whether I stayed his daughter or became another near miss.
I want to leave.
Nathan knelt in front of her.
We're not going in anywhere before dawn.
Richard came in soon after, older somehow than he had looked the day before.
No one enters without permission.
The emphasis was slight. The meaning was not. Eventually, the room quiet. My mother drifted into exhausted half-sleep with one hand still on my blanket. My father stayed awake in the chair by the door, phone in hand. Then footsteps crossed the upstairs corridor. They stopped outside the old nursery first. A door opened. A pause, then the steps resumed toward us. They stopped directly outside the master bedroom door. No knock, just presence. My father rose without a sound, one hand already reaching for the handle. The figure outside didn't enter. After several long seconds, the footsteps moved away. Nathan opened the door and found an empty hallway. The hallway itself told him who had been there. Amber, powder, old roses. My father closed the door and turned back toward the bed. Claire was fully awake now.
Nathan.
His voice sounded scraped thin.
It was her.
My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Before either of them could say more, my father's phone rang with the next answer. He listened, then lowered the phone with dawn just beginning to thin the sky.
It's Adrian.
My father stood by the bedroom window at dawn and said my uncle's name like it had cut him on the way out.
It's Adrian.
My mother stared at him, too shocked to cry.
Your brother?
Nathan nodded once. The signal mapping puts the number at Cedar Lake Estates more than anywhere else. Enough for him. That mattered more than legal certainty in that moment. My mother held me tighter.
Why would he do this?
There were many answers, but my father gave the only one he could say out loud.
He wants what Evelyn represents.
Yes. Position. Bloodline. The primary branch. Later that morning, he took us to Richard's studio. My grandfather stood behind his desk instead of inviting anyone to sit first. The room smelled like old paper and decision.
If this had happened once, I might have called it madness. Twice is intent.
No one argued.
What do we do?
Richard looked at me, then back at my parents.
We protect the child, and we don't warn the people who tried to take her.
There it was. Not panic. Strategy. My father met his father's eyes.
You want the family celebration to go ahead?
Richard didn't hesitate.
Yes.
Claire stared.
After this?
Richard's answer landed like a trap snapping shlood.
Because of this.
He wasn't trying to avoid war. He was choosing the stage for it. When my father came back from the study, he looked like a man who had just learned his confusion was older than he thought. Claire saw it instantly. What? Nay stood at the foot of the bed for a second before answering.
Dad thinks this started years before Evelyn was born.
The pieces came out in a low voice while I lay in her arms pretending to be only a baby. Richard had noticed money moving in ways he didn't like. He had noticed old contacts of Eleanor's resurfacing. He had noticed Adrian asking for access he had no reason to want, and he had noticed how quickly Eleanor covered for him every time.
And he said nothing?
Claire frowned. Nathan sat down heavily. He said he watched. That was Richard's method. Watch long enough, and people reveal whether you're looking at weakness or design.
He told me family rot doesn't announce itself. It hides in what gets excused.
My mother exhaled slowly.
So what exactly is he waiting for now?
Nathan looked up.
Proof he can use publicly.
That night, Eleanor appeared in the nursery doorway while my mother fed me.
Do you need anything? Tea? Rest?
Claire didn't soften.
No, thank you.
Polite. Flat. Final. Eleanor's smile tightened before she left. Later, by the window, my father spoke so quietly it almost sounded like he was confessing to the dark.
If he's right, I don't know what part of my life was real.
Then he turned back toward us, face hardening into something colder.
He won't get another chance.
And downstairs, somewhere beyond the nursery walls, Richard Sterling kept waiting with the trap already closing. My Uncle Adrian came toward us smiling and said, "Let me see her." My entire body went tight in my mother's arms. Claire felt it at once and shifted me closer against her chest. Adrian laughed softly.
I'm not going to bite.
No, I thought. just steal. My father's hand settled lightly against my mother's back.
She's not in a sharing mood.
The smile never quite left Adrian's face, but I saw the irritation flash through it before he stepped away. Dinner carried on under chandeliers and polished manners until my grandfather finally rose at the center of the room. Conversation thinned into silence around me.
Tonight is for my granddaughter.
He looked at my mother, my father, then me.
Evelyn Sterling arrived in this house and reminded us all that some things should be protected before they ever need defending.
Half the room heard sentiment, the sharper half heard steel. Then he moved from affection to placement.
I have established a trust in Evelyn's name, effective immediately.
Heads lifted.
The trust will be funded initially at $50 million.
A ripple moved through the room. Then came the real strike.
And 5% of Sterling Group shares will be placed in her name.
The room recalculated in silence. I felt my mother's heartbeat jump. My father didn't move. Across the ballroom, Adrian's fingers tightened around his glass hard enough that I saw the strain rise through his wrist. He smiled anyway. Men like him always do. But some smiles only exist because society doesn't permit a cleaner first reaction to being hit. My grandfather raised his glass.
To Evelyn.
The room echoed him. And before the applause had fully faded, Adrian rose from his chair, still holding his drink. He hadn't accepted the blow. He was about to challenge it. Adrian raised his glass and smiled at the room like he was about to toast the baby, not challenge her place.
Dad, that's generous.
The ballroom shifted around that word. Generous wasn't disagreement. Not yet. But everyone near enough to hear stopped pretending they weren't listening. Richard answered without changing expression.
It is.
Adrian went on in the same easy social tone.
Evelyn is only a few weeks old. It's a remarkable amount of trust to place in someone who hasn't even decided whether she likes being put down.
A few strained laughs surfaced and died quickly. Then he tightened the blade.
Of course she's family. Of course she should be cared for. But isn't it a little early to formalize so much, particularly in shares?
There it was. Not a comment on generosity, a challenge to placement. Nathan answered before anyone else.
There's nothing symbolic about equity.
Adrian's smile thinned.
Surely you know what I mean.
Richard cut in then, calm and merciless.
When you were 25, I gave you capital for your first company. Would you like me to remind the room how much of it you lost?
No one laughed this time. Adrian shifted, but he was too far in to retreat cleanly.
No one's arguing she shouldn't be cared for.
Nathan took one step forward.
You are.
The room froze. Adrian looked at his brother and tried one last line of cover.
I'm speaking as your brother.
Nathan's answer landed harder than a shout.
That would mean more to me if my daughter hadn't already needed protecting.
Silence swallowed the ballroom whole, and then my grandfather looked at Adrian and said,
You think this is about fairness? No, this is about bloodline.
The night had just crossed into something much worse. My father came back from the studio looking like a man who had just been handed a map of a war that started long before he knew he was in it. Claire didn't waste time.
What did he say?
Nathan shut the door and stayed there for a beat.
He's been watching them for years.
My mother went still.
Them?
My mother, Adrian.
He crossed the room and lowered his voice.
Dad noticed transactions he didn't like. Conversations that stopped when he entered. Old contacts of my mother's becoming active again. Adrian asking for access to things he had no reason to ask about.
Claire stared at him.
And he waited?
Nathan shook his head. He says confronting people before they've overcommitted only teaches them to hide better. That was the core of it. Richard hadn't done nothing. He had watched the line tighten.
He said he was waiting for the fish to take the hook.
My mother looked down at me.
And now?
Nathan's face hardened.
Now he says they've shown enough.
Enough to preserve every reaction from tonight. Enough to let embarrassment do its work. Enough to wait for the next careless move. My father crouched in front of my mother.
He told me my only job right now is to keep Evelyn safe.
That steadied her more than comfort could have.
I can do that.
Claire whispered. Nathan touched my sleeve lightly. Then he rose and moved back toward the door.
Where are you going?
Nathan's hand settled on the knob.
To the study. If they move, I want to know before they finish deciding to.
The celebration was over on the surface. Underneath, the hook had only just been set. The estate became unnervingly normal. Breakfast still arrived on silver trays. Fresh flowers still appeared in the front hall. My grandfather still read financial reports by the window in the west sitting room. If someone had dropped in without context, they would have thought nothing had changed. They would have been wrong. Adrian didn't visit. Eleanor didn't mention the ballroom. My father kept taking calls outside instead of inside, and my mother barely moved through the house without me. One afternoon, Richard sat with us while Claire fed me and asked without looking down from his paper.
How many times has Adrian called since the party?
Nathan answered from the doorway.
3. Did you answer? Once.
Richard finally looked up.
And? He said things got heated.
Richard let out a quiet sound.
Heated.
He saw through it at once. Humiliation made entitled people move. Later, with the room quieter, I made my own move. I shaped the first deliberate word I wanted anyone to hear.
Mama.
Claire froze.
What did you say?
I gave it to her again. Soft. Clear. Controlled.
Mama.
My mother laughed and cried at once. My father looked skeptical until he tried to claim his own version. Nathan crouched beside me.
Dada.
I stared at him. Nothing. He tried again.
Dada.
I turned my face back toward my mother and repeated with perfect timing.
Mama.
My mother burst into laughter. My father narrowed his eyes at me.
That was deliberate.
Yes, entirely, because there was another word I could have said. I was just saving it for a room that mattered more. 5 months old, I had become the kind of baby adults call advanced when they don't want to admit they're unsettled. The first word I gave the world was mama, and I used it ruthlessly. Mama when Claire walked into the room. Mama when she fed me. Mama when she came back from the shower. Mama whenever I wanted to remind the house exactly where my center of gravity was. My mother nearly cried every time. My father took it personally. He would lean over the playmat still in his work clothes and offer me toys like bribes.
Dada.
I blinked at him, then turned toward my mother and said,
Mama.
He brought me a tasteful stuffed rabbit one afternoon and tried again while Claire laughed at him.
I've brought tribute. You may now call me by name.
You're bribing a baby.
Nathan crouched lower. Nothing.
Dada.
I watched him carefully and withheld what he wanted. Not because I couldn't say more, because words mattered more when spent at the right moment. Across the room, Richard lowered his paper just enough to observe the failure.
If she isn't impossible, she isn't a Sterling.
My father pointed at me with theatrical outrage.
She absolutely understands more than she should.
I smiled at him. Tiny. Bright. Infuriating. He stared back as if trying to decide whether he was raising a baby or negotiating with one. He was right to wonder, because there was one word I had no intention of wasting in a nursery, and one day I would say it in a room full of witnesses where it could land like a blade. I was keeping it. For my grandfather. Ballroom fell silent when my father stood and looked out over the room full of guests, legacy families, and people who knew how to hear power when it was being assigned.
Evelyn Sterling is the daughter of the primary line of this family and the future heir to its name and business.
There it was. Not affection. Not implication. Placement. I felt my mother's heartbeat jump against me. The room was already recalculating when he delivered the second strike.
I will therefore be increasing her trust allocation by another $100 million.
Silence. Then the line that finished the blow.
And raising her shareholdship in Sterling Group from 5% to 15%.
This time the stillness broke into the subtle violence of reaction. Glasses stopped midway to lips. Eyes turned and snapped away. Even the servers along the walls went still. 15%. At my age, in this room. With witnesses. Across the ballroom, Adrian's face changed before he could stop it. Just enough tension at the mouth. Just enough fracture through the eyes. He set his glass down too carefully. My father finished without flinching.
As of today, no one should be unclear about where she stands.
That was as close to a public warning as he could make it. Across the room, a man rose too fast for a man trying to look relaxed. His chair legs scraped softly against the floor, and every nearby head turned. He picked up his glass again, smiling as if he meant to toast.
Brother, that's a very decisive statement.
He wasn't standing to celebrate me. He was standing to fight. Adrian smiled at the room and tried to make his objection sound reasonable.
15% for a baby? You're setting records.
My father stayed exactly where he was.
Then she can start early.
That answer stripped the charm off Adrian's line at once. He kept going anyway.
It's about proportion, visibility, symbolism, about what message you send when you tie that much of the company to a 6-month-old child.
Nathan answered before anyone else could move the room away from the truth.
The message is that she belongs exactly where I said she does.
The murmur that followed felt like cold air. Then Adrian crossed the line fully.
You don't get to decide that alone.
Silence. He looked around the ballroom as if the witnesses were on his side and not recording his own ambition for later.
Sterling Group isn't a nursery. This family has more than branch, more than one child, more than one for future to consider.
There it was. Not fairness. Competition. My grandfather set down his teacup with a small, precise sound that cut through the room like a blade. Richard rose.
You think this is about fairness? No. This is about bloodline, position, and what some people in this room believe they are entitled to.
Adrian's jaw tightened, but he didn't stop.
My son is also part of this family.
That was the mistake. My grandfather turned fully toward him and said, with terrible calm,
Your son? Then let's talk about that.
And the ballroom understood, all at once, that this was about to become far worse than a fight over shares. Nessa's voice carried across the ballroom before anyone else could recover.
What clinic?
My grandfather didn't look at her.
The fertility clinic where your son was conceived.
She turned toward Adrian so sharply her salcon shoulder flashed under the light.
Adrian?
He kept his eyes on Richard.
This is not the time.
That answer was answer enough. Eleanor tried to intervene, but Richard cut through her with one command.
Sit down.
Then he withdrew a cream envelope from inside his jacket and placed it on the table in full view of the room.
This is a report I commissioned 3 months ago.
Not rumor, not suspicion. Documentation. He let that land before he said the next sentence.
Your son is not biologically yours.
The room fractured. A spoon dropped somewhere near the back. Vanessa staggered against her chair.
No.
Adrian still didn't look at her.
There was no lab error, no clerical accident. Samples were switched.
Vanessa's hand flew to her mouth. My father stood absolutely still. My mother tightened her hold on me. Then Richard looked at Elena.
Would you like to explain how the clinic director happened to be an old friend of yours?
Her face held for 1 second longer, then cracked from the inside. He didn't wait for an answer.
The child is the son of Caleb York.
Half the room didn't know the name. The other half knew enough to freeze harder. My mother whispered, "Who?"
No one public.
Richard corrected that impression himself with the next blow.
The man you have spent 30 years pretending was not yours.
Now the ballroom wasn't just shocked. It was witnessing the family line itself being ripped open. Vanessa stared at Adrian with tears running silently down her face.
Tell me my son is yours.
He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. That was the cruelest answer he could have given her. She looked from him to Elena, and the shape of the betrayal settled in front of the whole room. My grandfather folded the report once and set it back down.
This family was nearly forced to raise an outsider as one of its heirs, while my actual granddaughter was almost stolen from under our roof.
Fraud there, truth here. He looked directly at Eleanor.
You opposed Claire from the start. You protected Adrian because he was easier to shape. And when nature failed to give him the heir you wanted, you manufactured one.
Vanessa made a broken sound. My father didn't move, but the room around him felt colder. Richard let the whole ballroom hear the final judgment.
You wanted to talk about bloodline? Fine. You replaced blood with blood that was never ours.
That sentence landed like a verse. My grandfather held me in his arms, looked out at the frozen ballroom, and said the line that corrected the whole family in a single stroke.
This is the rightful blood of this family.
No one moved. Not because they didn't understand him, because they did. He turned first toward Adrian, then Eleanor, then the wider arc of guests who would carry this night into every private circle that mattered.
Evelyn is not a placeholder. She is not sentimental excess. She is not a child to be measured against some counterfeit claim built in the dark.
My mother started crying openly. My father moved to her side and kept one hand at her shoulder. Richard lifted me slightly.
She is my Nathan's daughter. She belongs to the primary line of this family, and if anyone here still needs clarity on where she stands, they will not receive it twice.
There was no defense left after that. Adrian looked hollow. Eleanor looked exposed in a way silk and posture could not fix. Then came the threat.
If anyone ever reaches for this child again, I will remove them from this family so completely that even their names will become an inconvenience to remember.
No one in that room mistook the meaning. Not distance. Not a reprimand. Destruction. At last, he turned away from them and looked down at me, his voice dropping lower.
No one takes what is yours again.
I rested one hand against his jacket. Then he gave me back to my mother and turned to my father.
Tomorrow.
Only that. My father nodded once. He understood. Tonight had been exposure. Tomorrow would be punishment. Family reckoning began in my grandfather's private conference room, and the first thing the attorney placed on the table was the paper trail behind the attempt to steal me. No crystal, no social chortography, just files, polished wood, and the sound of evidence sliding into place. I stayed in my mother's arms through all of it. Good. If they were going to name what had been done to me, then I belonged in the room. The attorney spoke with measured neutralities while one act after another was flattened into records. Hospital and staff credentials, call over hour with the in-house attempt, payments to Mrs. Harper, security footage, the paternity report, clinic record. There is something uniquely ugly about family betrayal once it becomes paperwork. Dates and signatures strip sentiment off blood. When the attorney finished, Eleanor lifted her chin.
This is interpretation.
No.
There is something uniquely ugly. She tried again. The hospital staffer could have acted alone. The housekeeper was frightened. There was no direct transfer from Adrian.
You think that's the weak point?
That finally got my father's full attention. Eleanor looked at him and tried to use the old language one last time.
You're emotional.
I was emotional in the hospital now.
My father laughed once. It held no humor. Richard placed both hands flat on the table.
This is not a discussion about intentions. This is a record of acts.
Then he nodded to the attorneys. A second folded and 2 prepared documents were laid onto the polished wood. We were done naming the crimes. Now came the penalties. The first document the attorney placed in front of Eleanor was a divorce settlement. She didn't touch it. The attorney spoke calmly, but the terms were brutal. Personal holdings reverted to the trust structure. Accounts were frozen pending review. Leverage cut down to the bare minimum needed to avoid public spectacle. Richard looked at her and said only one word.
Sign.
The second document landed in front of Adrian. Share reclamation, access termination, asset freeze. Neither of them moved. Then Eleanor made her final mistake. She rose and tried to turn necessity into virtue.
I did what I thought was necessary. Nathan had only a daughter. If anything happened...
My mother went white with fury. My father's head snapped toward her. My grandfather rose slowly from his chair, and the room died around him.
Say that again.
Eleanor realized too late what she had exposed. Not merely greed, contempt. A daughter had been insufficient in her eyes. Replaceable. Richard stepped closer, voice almost too quiet.
You endangered my granddaughter because you thought she was less than enough.
That was the heart of it, stripped Babel once with his hand.
You thought my son's daughter could be replaced. You thought you could rewrite blood. Sign.
Eleanor sat down shaking, for real now. Across the table, Adrian had gone gray. Then Vanessa stood, took 2 steps toward him, and slapped him hard across the face.
You ruined my life.
She turned and walked out. No one stopped her. A second later, with the room still ringing from that sound, Eleanor reached for the pen.